Hello, welcome to EtCetera. I'm Dave McLaughlin. In today's program we have 3 items for you. Later on we'll be talking to the owner of the chestnut roasting stalls you see in the city over winter. And we take a look at a Tai Chi class in the northern suburbs. First though, to Literacy Week, an initiative from the Department of Education to celebrate and encourage reading. I spoke to Kathy Beasy from Education Victoria outside the State Library, where they were setting a record for the non-stop reading of War and Peace.
Okay, there's been lots of things happening in Literacy Week. It's a national initiative, and in Victoria we have the Let's Read Victoria campaign. And the main purpose is to celebrate literacy success and also to make the community aware of the importance of literacy, and also to involve them in a range of activities where they're having opportunities to read as well.
What other activities do you do through the year?
This is the first time that we have had Literacy Week. So schools often have Book Week and they celebrate reading in lots of ways, but this is the first time we've had this national initiative.
And this is going to be a ongoing thing?
Well, we hope it will be. We think it's been a great opportunity to talk to the community about the importance of reading, and also that it's the community's responsibility also with schools to assist children to become literate.
Can you tell me about what you've been doing here outside the State Library?
Outside the State Library we've been reading War and Peace continually and we started that at 12 o'clock on Monday with the idea of creating a world record of continuous reading of War and Peace. So all night people have been reading. People off the street come up and maybe they read a paragraph, maybe they read 3 pages, maybe they read for 10 minutes, with the idea being of creating a world record of reading War and Peace, and an opportunity for people to have a chance to read out loud and for others to listen to people reading.
What sort of response have you had from members of the public coming by here?
I think we've had an amazing response in terms of people who have been happy to stand at the microphone and read a small section of War and Peace. A lot of the words are quite tricky to pronunciate, but people seem to have a bit of a laugh about that. But we've had a very positive response in terms of people wanting to read. So far we've had over 400 people who have stopped and actually been involved in reading War and Peace with us here.
Why did you choose War and Peace? Is it simply because it's such a long book?
Yeah, because it's such a long book, and also it's a classic, and it's been translated into lots of different languages, and I guess the size of it made it quite a challenge for us to think about how long that would actually take to read, because we've been reading for 44 hours so far, and we think we might finish in about another 3 or 4 hours today.
Together with pity for the enemy and the sense of the justice of their cause, expressed too with...
Whose idea was it to do this reading and to have Literacy Week?
The idea to have Literacy Week, it's a national initiative through the Education Department. And this was one of the many ideas that we've decided to do to celebrate Literacy Week here in Victoria. So this is just one of the things that we've done.
What are some of the positive things you see coming out of Literacy Week?
I think an awareness of the importance of reading, also to celebrate successes that are happening. Yesterday we had National Literacy Awards that were presented here in Victoria, and schools are doing wonderful things in terms of literacy, here in Victoria in particular, we believe, and it was an opportunity to celebrate those successes. So the National Literacy Awards have been very significant.
Who won as part of these National Literacy Awards?
In Victoria here we had Urunga Primary School from Wangaratta were one of the major winners, and also Holy Spirit in Thornbury was also a major winner, and they received their awards yesterday, and they had teachers and children from their schools at the awards.
Can you tell us about some of the other events you've organised as part of National Literacy Week?
On last Sunday we had a picnic in the Flagstaff Gardens, and at that picnic there were children there and adults. There were readings, there was a fairy story that was told. Children had opportunities to make Father's Day cards. They could go into a tent and listen to authors read the stories that they'd written. And it was just a generally fun type day where there were lots of opportunities for children to read, and we also had a poet saying poetry. So it was just a fun day. Gary Lyon, ex-Melbourne footballer, is our patron for Literacy Week, and he launched Literacy Week at the picnic and talked about the importance of reading and how lovely it is for him as a father, he has a child in prep, to be going through the process of watching his child learn to read.
Are you just concentrating on children's literacy, or are you also focusing on adult literacy as part of this week?
It's Adult Learners Week as well this week, so that there are some events where we're certainly talking about adult learning and adults reading to children, and so we are addressing those issues.
Can you tell me some of the other things students might be receiving as part of Literacy Week?
All students in Victoria in state, government and independent schools will receive a bookmark to celebrate Literacy Week. That Be Well Read and Wear Read and Let's Read Victoria. And we have pins, so everyone who's been reading in the Reading Relay have received a pin for doing that, and some other key people around the state have also received these pins.
You're having a brochure for parents being launched as well as part of this week. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there's a brochure being launched for parents, and all parents who have children in prep to year 4 will receive a brochure on literacy and numeracy, and what are the key ideas for literacy and numeracy, and identifying the ways that parents assist children to learn to read and write and also to think mathematically. A couple of other nice events are books are being given to all babies born during Literacy Week here in Victoria, so that we have representatives from a range of places taking books to hospitals, so that young children and babies are having the opportunity to be read to. Schools are doing lots of activities. International Literacy Day, children are dressing up in red. There's red balloons on schools to celebrate literacy, and so schools are doing lots of special things. The Collins Bookstore are giving $1,000 to the Smith family to provide books for people, which is a really nice initiative, and for books for all family members. So that's really nice.
I was going to say why the colour red, but I guess it's obvious.
Well, it's Be Well Read and Wear Red. So children are wearing red. We're all wearing red in our office today. We've got red balloons in the office, and you'll see red balloons here as well. So it's just a nice play on words, really, to do with literacy.
Thanks very much, Kathy.
Okay, thank you.
That was Kathy Beasy from Education Victoria. As Kathy mentioned, Adult Learners Week was held at the same time as Literacy Week. As part of the week, the Darebin Karate Kittens Tai Chi class from the Darebin University of the Third Age put on a demonstration at the Darebin Arts and Entertainment Centre as part of the U3A's Coming Alive Again display. John Cannard, who is a member of the class himself, spoke to Margaret Norris, the class's instruction master, about it.
And bend. Opening up to the left. Swinging arms. Swinging arms.
Margaret, could you explain to the viewers, please, where did Tai Chi come from and what are some of its benefits?
Tai Chi came from China originally, from the Shaolin monks who found it quite difficult to move across the open plains of China with any safety. They found that they needed to have some form of martial art in order to protect themselves from robbers and various things like that. Of course, after many hundreds of years, Tai Chi has evolved into something that's far more relaxing and peaceful. And today, people take up Tai Chi from all levels and all disabilities as well are able to do it. The benefits from Tai Chi are quite individual, but by and large, most people find it incredibly relaxing. A lot of people tell me that they sleep much better the night or 1 or 2 nights after having done a class. A lot of people find that they have better digestion. Other people tell me that they have lowered their blood pressure, and their doctors are quite puzzled as to why this is happening, and they're not doing anything different in their life except Tai Chi. The benefits can be just amazing, from quite extreme to quite just gentle things.
Yes. I'm one of your students, as you know, you've seen me there.
Yes.
But to me, it's amazing. It is so gentle, so calm and so easy.
Yes.
But yet at the end of the day, why is it so tiring?
Well, obviously from that point of view, it's having an effect on your chemistry and body functions, which obviously your body needs to adjust accordingly, and this is the way it's helping you. Perhaps slowing down your blood pressure or your metabolism or something like that.
Yeah. But I have noticed one of the great improvements with me is my fine motor coordination.
Oh, good.
It's really great. It's helping me there. I'm typing faster and enjoying it now.
Now, could that be a benefit for you? Because if you don't mind me saying, I know that you've had a stroke, John, and so this would be an added benefit for you from that point of view. Would that be
Yes,
right?
this is why I took it up, because I was advised because Tai Chi would help with fine motor coordination and large motor coordination.
Yes.
So it really is. It's helping me now with the typing. I'm feeling more confident even
Yes.
doing that.
Yes.
And it is helping me. I just enjoy it. Not only that, the benefits of it, it's a great social thing.
Yes,
you
it is.
really enjoy it, you get there, you laugh and joke.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing is, it can be graded to age. And
Yes.
today you've seen our demonstration, and it was fun, it was great, and yet if you could put the ones of ours that know it, you could put them in with the really great ones that are doing it, and they wouldn't be out of place.
Exactly.
That is, it's a great leveler,
Yes,
but it
yes.
is fun and it is helpful. It's great.
Yes, it's absolutely wonderful. As you say, we don't take ourselves too seriously, but in one way we don't take ourselves too seriously. In another way we do, because we're all very keen to learn it, relax, enjoy it and get the benefits from it. But you're right, at our level I think it's wonderful because we do have a great social. We're not out to win Olympic gold medals or anything else, and quite often we will adjust certain steps so that people who find it difficult, especially the people who are a little bit older, might find certain steps a little bit difficult. So we just make a little adjustments accordingly, and they are still getting the absolute ultimate benefits of Tai Chi as well.
Yes, and I've noticed too, with younger children, the respect towards the master or the
Yes.
respect towards the parents. It is great.
Yes, it is lovely. I've worked with all sorts of people, from people in wheelchairs and, as you say, children as well, to people who some of us, one of our ladies I think is about to become 80, and she does it every day, and she thinks it's just absolutely wonderful. And she's a friend of mine, actually, a lovely lady, and she's actually getting wonderful benefits out of it. So from what age level, what disability level, it doesn't matter.
Yes, even artistically, the words, the white crane flies, the snow rabbit
Yes.
scratches the dirt,
Yes.
and all this seems to add another dimension to it, that
Yes.
you're not just doing an exercise.
No. What I try to encourage the students to do is that what you've just been speaking is coming from the lotus, which is over 700 years old. And most people I've been teaching Tai Chi for 15 years, and I find a lot of my old students who come back and say, I've forgotten the Tai Chi, but I remember the lotus. Now the lotus is absolutely beautiful. As I say, it's 700 years old. And the words in that are really quite beautiful. And what I endeavour to try and get my students to do is to comment, to come across some imagery in their minds, give some space into their minds and some imagery. For instance, I sort of say we're going to Canada, where the snow rabbit
Yes.
digs the earth and tosses the snow away. And if they can sort of transport their minds there, they take on another dimension, and eventually allowing them to recognise the Qi, which in the Chinese form of Tai Chi is the healing force. It's based on the meridians in the body and the various blockages. We use our mind, whereas an acupuncture person will use a needle.
Needle, yes.
And we endeavour to use it that way.
Brush the bird's tail, holding the ball. Brush the bird's tail. Take your left hand up.
We have two of the students. Hi Ron, hi Wilma.
G'day, John.
Ron, would you tell the viewers please how you became interested in Tai Chi and what it's done for you?
Well, actually, I booked my wife in. I joined the painting class, and because of other commitments, and it was Thursday afternoon we meet, she couldn't make it, so I thought I'd go along. And I only went just to be courteous. I dropped the painting, and I very rarely miss a class. It's very beneficial, and my doctor said my blood pressure's never been better.
Right, Wilma, and how did you come to be involved in the class, and what's some of the benefits for you?
Well, I've always been very interested in Tai Chi, and when I saw this year's programming had a class going, I became a member of it, and I've really enjoyed it. Margaret, our teacher, is excellent. There's no pressure from her. She's very patient with us, And I've found a lot of benefits from relaxation, how I help posture, breathing. And
Yes.
the class, everyone in the class has a good time, and I really enjoy it, both from beneficial for health and social.
Yes, that's one of the keynotes of the class, isn't it? The class is fun, but underlying everything is the thing. It is for health and it is for social things, and mainly health, as you both can attest to how good it has been for you.
Feel better
Thank you.
for it.
Yes.
I definitely do.
Thank you.
Sprinkles the water on young lotus buds. Young lotus buds bloom. And closing off. Standing still for a moment or two. And now the salutation again. And now the last row, move on. Second row.
Welcome back to EtCetera. Over the last few years, a new addition to the street life in the centre of Melbourne has been a series of chestnut roasting stalls. Philip Taylor has been taking a look at this interesting enterprise.
I'm on the corner of Swanston and Littleburg Streets in the city. I'm talking to Carlton Jackson, proprietor of Dandenong Ranges Chestnuts.
And we're in Melbourne.
In the city. Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How did you actually get the idea of roasting chestnuts in the city?
I started with a chestnut farm in the Dandenong Ranges in 1980. I have since sold that farm and bought another more established farm. And when 8 years ago I gave up my job as a designer, we had twin children. I've looked after them, so we purchased a larger chestnut farm. And a neighbour on a farm next door to us suggested one day that we could try value adding by roasting our chestnuts in the city. He approached the Lord Mayor on the radio one day. We followed that up with fairly extensive follow-ups, and we did 3 years ago a trial in the city, and the trial showed that it was a viable business. And this is we've just concluding today the second winter full time in the city.
And why only winter? Why not extending into summer?
Certainly people are not interested in buying chestnuts as much on very hot days. It's a seasonal thing.
A bit much like ice cream in winter.
Chestnuts are perishable. I mean, we keep them under very strict conditions in a cool room, but they can't keep forever. They can't effectively keep for a whole 12 months unless we freeze them, and that's just uneconomical to freeze them.
Did you have much problems with the red tape trying to get started?
No, not really. It's complex in some ways, in as much as particularly the gas units for the chestnut roasting have to meet very strict guidelines for safety. Something like $23,000 was spent on designing and building and prototyping these units. Once the health department and the other committee involved were convinced that we had good equipment and that we were professional chestnut farmers, if you like, that we had a good product, it didn't take an awful lot of red tape after that for us to make the initial steps into the city. What we had to do then was try and find the most viable sites for our business throughout the city. So last year, after the previous year where we tested the viability of it in the first place, last year we moved around the city to some extent to try and find good sites. Strangely enough, on the opposite corner over here, we came there on the very first day we came into the city and did quite badly for the first 2 or 3 hours, and yet this has now become our best site in the city, Littleburg and Swanston. And It's taken just a lot of experimentation to try and find out exactly how we maximise the business, and that's the process that we've even developed further this year as well. We entered this year into the Victoria market, so we've had a maximum on some days of 7 chestnut roasters going. That's been a great learning curve as well. It hasn't worked out totally successfully the later we've gone in the year, but we think we've got the potential to make that a better business next year as well.
How involved was it to actually set up something like this in the beginning with the umbrella and the lights and the roaster?
Well, for 20 odd years I've been a senior project designer with Telstra, where I did exactly this kind of work. So I mean, it was fairly second nature to me to try and come up with what I thought were the best portable, best quality fixtures that we could find that would be easily transportable. We have to pack a number of these onto a specially made trailer every day, so it was a design exercise for me, and I went for quality, and I think the quality over the next few years will pay off.
What sort of interesting or funny things have been happening while you have been in charge of chestnut roasters?
Oh, you meet a fantastic array of people from all walks of life. It's tremendous after being on a farm for 9 months of the year to come into the city, and instead of looking at beautiful trees and lakes and birds and so on, you're actually talking to many tourists and interstate visitors, people from Melbourne, and you just get engrossed in conversations. We actually had an opportunity to help a young lady out recently who has cerebral palsy in a wheelchair, and I'm hoping next year to develop this as an aspect of our business where we can give something back to the people who ply the streets. It's been fantastic just exploring the lives of various people that we meet as we sell chestnuts, and we sell a lot of chestnuts.
What would people's reaction be to the chestnuts? It's always been favourable?
Yes, I can't think of many unfavourable moments. This is a very familiar scene throughout Southeast Asia, in many, many countries, from Korea through to Malaysia, Taiwan, Japan. It's common through Europe, in both East and West. It's common in England. So it's very familiar with a lot of people's cultures, that those people that we see in the city that come from these various other countries or have travelled through them. So they've been absolutely amazed to see that a chestnut farmer or 2 chestnut farmers in Melbourne have actually decided to value add to their crop and set this business up in the city, and it's a very good way of value adding, and I'm a great believer in value adding in Australia. I think we should try and value add to a lot more of our primary produce.
I'm talking to Stephen, who is one of the regular chestnut roasters. Stephen, what made you decide to become a chestnut roaster in the beginning?
I just like work part time to fill my empty time. So I got some money, and I can speak English with customer.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's the reason. I just chestnut roaster.
So can you take me through the full operation of how you actually roast the chestnuts?
Yep, sure. First time, we need to cut the nuts.
Yes.
It's not really whole thing, but it's just split them so that the pressure can release.
Well, so they don't basically explode.
Yep.
Yes. So they don't explode.
Yep.
It's vitally important.
Yep, that's the most important. And then after that, we put in the roaster and wait for a couple of minutes so that they're ready to cook, ready to eat. Yep. And it's gonna become soft.
Ah.
Yeah.
So a soft nut is a good nut.
Yep. hopefully, most people like soft nut. But,
yes.
Yeah, but some people like burnt one.
Yeah,
But it's not usual.
So what would you think would be the best part of this job?
Part of this job, the best one is I can know each other. I mean, I got different customer every day, every week. So yeah.
So you get to meet a lot of different people.
Yeah, and also different culture. Yeah.
That was Philip Taylor exploring the interesting world of chestnut roasters. And that's all for our program today. Goodbye.